that I cared, and they will remember that I taught them. They will remember who, right? They might forget the reading, but they will know or feel that I tried my best at the time and that I cared and I wanted them to do well given the circumstances. Okay, with my little introduction, after my little introduction, I'm going to share with you my screen, and we're going to walk through several slides, hopefully asking for your input. Okay, so we're in this together, so I'm going to share my slide with you. If you do not see it, please type in the chat. Okay, all right. Let's see now. Can you all see my slides? Yep, yep, great. Right, just a second. All right, excellent. Can you all hear me properly? Is everybody fine with the audio? Yeah, you can nod. Yes, good. You can all hear me well. Great, excellent. Okay. All right, so let's get started. So English skills and technology in the day and age of online teaching. The aims of this session, this is what I'm going to cover today, 4 main points. I'm not going to do a branch out, but I'm going to try to be focused on these 4 main things. Okay, lovely. So as always, I'm famous for this. I give a quiz at the beginning of my classes, whether online or face-to-face. So if you may, it's quiz time. I'm going to ask you to type in answers to the following questions as they come up. Are we ready? Okay, great. Thank you. Sounds good. I can see people typing up here. Yes, sounds good. Forgive me, but I just have to be a teacher. Can't help it. Okay. Okay, are we good? Can you see the new screen? Please stop me if you can't see any screen. Everybody's fine? Good. All right, excellent. All right, let's start. Question number 1, I would like you to type the answer. What best describes your role in education? Are you a teacher, administrator, teacher trainer? What is your role in education? Please type up your answer in the group chat. Wonderful. I have a moderator, facilitator. Excellent. Excellent. Okay, lovely. Excellent. Teacher trainers, coordinator, administrator. Wonderful. Thank you. All right. So let's try another question. Okay. Who is your technology buddy? Who is your support? Who is your support system? You don't need to give me names. I may not know these people, but you can tell me my friend, my co-teacher, my cousin, my brother, my father, you know, my boss, my daughter. Somebody said my YouTube. Wow. My principal, my friend, my son, my daughter. Lovely. Excellent, excellent, excellent. My daughter, excellent. Lovely, 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 lovely. Great. Let's continue. Another question. All right. This is ... Fill in the spaces. Fill in the sentence. Complete the sentence. I cannot live without emojis, Google Forms, or Google Slides. You need to choose one of these and type in the chat box, please. What can't you live without? Emojis, Google Forms, or Google Slides? Somebody wrote my family. I agree, but it's not one of the choices. Google Slides, wow. Forms, yes. Forms, slides. Emojis, nobody goes for emojis? Okay. How about Google Slides and emojis and Google Forms together? Emojis, yes. Wonderful. All right, let's continue. All right, I need you to use one adjective to describe how you feel about technology. Just one word, and the word needs to be an adjective. How do you feel about technology? Excited, interested, comfortable, panicky, amazing, not bad, indispensable, adorable. It's the only way to survive. That's a sentence. Anyway, comfort zone, amazing, intimidated, must do. Lovely, lovely, wonderful. Okay, we're almost there. 2 more questions, bear with me. All right, okay. How do you feel about receiving hands-on training on innovative tech tools? How do you feel about that? Necessary. I like this answer. Needed. A must. Wow. Useful. Wonderful. Needed. Very interested. Okay. Excellent. Excellent. All right. And the last question, you're doing very well, by the way, is what is the first thing you ask about when you hear about a new tech tool? What's the first thing you ask about? I'll tell you what I ask about in a minute, but I don't want to, help you with the answers. What's the first thing I give you a new tool, I tell you about the new, what's the first thing? Is it easy to use? I need a workshop. Is it free? How friendly, how student friendly it is. Oh yeah, yes. User friendly. What for? Ooh, we have a winner. What for? Excellent, excellent, excellent. Benefits. Excellent, that's the perfect answer. Yeah, what for? That would be the answer, right? Really, what am I going to use it for? Okay. Second one, maybe if it's free or not, Of course, money matters when it comes to cost. All right, I hope you enjoyed this little exercise, okay? You all did very well, very proud of you. Now we're gonna continue with our presentation, okay? So I stopped sharing this. I'm gonna go back to my little PowerPoint. And let's see what we're talking about here. Okay. In 2016, the famous Scott Thornbury gave a very, very important talk in the United States. And at that time, he coined the term, the mouse that roared. And since then, this term has been used everywhere. Can somebody tell me what you think it means? Could you please type the mouse that roared? What is he talking about? What mouse? Type your answers, please. The mouse that roared. Yes, yes, technology. Okay, you got that. Excellent, the PC mouse. Okay, he was basically talking, excellent, perfect answers. Yes, the computer mouse. And the mouse is roaring because at that time he was saying that teachers are afraid of technology, that we are scared of technology, that it's intimidating. And in that talk, you can go back later if you want and actually attend the recording of the lecture. It's quite long, but it's very interesting. He basically gave 6 things to help reduce the noise of the soaring mouse, okay? And pacify us teachers and say, like, don't worry, you can handle it, He was predicting some of our fears when we're talking about technology. Anyway, he basically asked one pivotal question in this presentation. He asked, what is the problem for which technology, this particular technology, is the solution? So he's saying there is a problem and there is technology, and we need to be able to match, bridge the gap between the problems we face in teaching and choose the suitable, appropriate tech tool to solve this problem, to handle this problem, to deal with this problem. Very interesting and very, I mean, this is 2020. So, 4 years ago, he was basically talking about, not just everybody's like the tech revolution. He was talking about we as educators facing some problems as we use technology. All right, so what is the problem? What are the problems? The problems are actually many. We have to teach online. We all had to teach online. We still have to teach online. We have our texts, our books, we have our videos, our audios. We have our platforms, our learning delivery platforms, like Google, like Blackboard, like Moodle, like Google Classroom. We have our communication tools, our email, we have our chat, we have our discussion boards, we have all these tools, right? But the problem is how? How are we going to use all these tools? Especially now that we have to do it remotely. We have to do it online. We're no longer in class with the students, facing us. All right, so this is the question that I'm going to ask you now. So now, with the online teaching, the remote teaching, what are we doing? What are we doing? Are we changing the medium or are we changing the methodology? What are we changing? Could you please type your answer now that we're moving to online teaching? What has changed? Is it the medium or the methodology? A lot of people are writing, well, we're getting a mixture. Some people are saying medium, some people are saying methodology. Well, to tell you the truth, wow, yes. Now people are beginning to say like both of them. Yes, good answer, both. All right, so we agree then that we are changing. There is a change, all right? So we're gonna take it from there. And when there is a change, the change is in the why, and the change is in the how. If we agree that we have to make changes to our teaching because now we're teaching online or teaching remotely, this is step one, okay? This is step one, that we're all on the same page. We're saying we need to change. But then the question is, how are we going to change? What changes should we make? We need to try out what's new out there to help us deliver our learning outcomes. All right. I looked at many readings. I did quite a bit of reading, and I attended many webinars. In fact, actually, I was just thinking the other day that, last January, this is before the corona, whatnot, I was out of the country and I had some free time. And by sheer coincidence, I saw this announcement for an online conference about teaching online. And basically, they were saying the theme of the conference was like, throw out your book, let's use technology. And I attended that and I got a certificate. And today I was like, my God, thank God I did. At the time, I didn't know how useful and how beneficial this would be. Anyway, okay, so in the website called Inside Higher Education, they collected the findings of many surveys. This was published in May 2020, so this is very recent. They combined and collected all surveys that were done in high school and at universities, asking about online teaching, all right? These are the findings, and looking at them will dictate what we're going to do next, okay? So let's see what they found out. They found that the most important thing on students' mind is the professor. Then comes the organization of the professor, whether the professor is organized or not. Then comes how the professor is able to communicate with the students and how the professor is able to allow the students to communicate with each other. So students together, students, professor, professor, students. So then after that comes the course materials, the content, what is being taught. And the next one is the variety in these course materials, the variety in the tools, the variety in the methods of teaching. And then comes the structure of the course. So they don't want only the course to be structured and organized from day 1 to day 200, but also the lesson itself to be clearly organized and clearly structured from minute 1 to minute 60, let's say, for example. Could you please tell me in the chat if you find any of this surprising, any surprises about these findings? This is what university students, high school students said in surveys, like March, April, and May. Any thoughts about this? Any surprise? Did you find anything surprising here? Is it surprising that they would say the professor, for example? Yeah. Some people say that the materials are come later, Some people are not surprised. The professor should be number 1. Yeah, I was surprised because I thought they would say content, what you're teaching, but it's no. They didn't say that. They said the professor, because the professor selects and chooses the content, Yeah, communication also. Yes, communication. A lot of people are saying communication. Yes, yeah. Now, organization, some people are commenting about the word organization, because despite the fact that there's a set syllabus or a curriculum, each professor has the right to, be flexible, move things around, pick and choose, just like we do at AUC. So, organization kind of is the is the choice made by the professor. Okay, great. Moving along. All right. So based on this, we can try to say that procedure is just as important as content during online teaching, right? Since as we found out that content comes at a later stage, procedure. How do you set up your class? How do you set up your course? From day 1 in the semester to the end of the semester and during the class time. This is extremely important, especially that the students are not with us in the same room. They are somewhere else. Also related to this, and also very important, is the power of choice. And if I repeat this a million times, it will not be enough. Choice by the teacher, choice by the students. Giving the students choice is extremely important. One of the things I'm going to focus on in later workshops, the idea of, flexibility and giving choice to our students. And of course, related to this comes the idea of, student autonomy and student responsibility for own learning, right? Excellent. Okay, all right, moving along. So we agree that we're dealing with a problem. There is a crisis. We are suddenly asked to teach using another medium, which is online, and we have to deal with it. But before we start talking about what we're dealing with, and later the next slide, how we're going to deal with it, I just want to say this, and this is extremely important. It's on the top of my mind. Inshallah, this Corona thing is going to go, okay? And we're going to go back to our normal, inshallah, lives, face-to-face teaching. However, what we have learned, the skills that we have acquired, the new abilities should continue with us when we later on see our students in classes normally, because this is the 21st century and this is the 21st century learning. So it's true that we're not physically in the same room now with the students, but the skills and abilities can still be used when we're back with them face to face. Having said that, I am one of the teachers, because of budgetary cuts in our department, we were not allowed to do a lot of photocopying. I mean, if you've been here at AUC for a long time, you will know how, we were allowed to photocopy left, right, and center, and go into class with these packets we give the students, but no more because of budget, right? So I am one of the people who, since, let's say, 2010, 2011, have gone paperless. I mean, there are a lot of us who don't use papers or books. Everything is on a memory stick or on our Google Drive, right? Or on Blackboard or on Moodle. So, it's just, what I'm trying to say here is that we need to think that, yes, we are physically not in the same room with the students. And later when we are, we can still do what we're doing, right? Use the same tools, use the same skills, use the same strategies, so that we can really truly say we are 21st century teachers. Okay, lovely. So let's continue. I can see people are agreeing. Thank you. Yeah, right. Yeah, this is the 21st century. I mean, I can tell you that I was shocked when I found my son, when he was an AUC student, basically going to AUC with his phone or his laptop, and that's it. I'm like, Mommy, where are your pens and papers? And he's like, what are you talking about? Where is you don't need a booklet or something, or some kind of a, notepad? He was looking at me as if I'm coming from a different planet. He doesn't need. He's taking notes on his phone, taking pictures of the lectures, and that's it. And submitting his assignments online. So, I do understand how the students are feeling right now. I think many of us are having problems with the transition more than they are. At a later time, we can talk about my students' experience with me during this semester when we first had to go online, I mean, I didn't see that they were struggling. I think they were worried about the coronavirus more than technology, to tell you the truth. Anyway, moving along. Okay, so let's continue. So what are we dealing with? We need to adapt, and I cannot stress the importance of the word adapt, our course books, our syllabi, the content for remote settings. That's step one. And we also need to design materials suitable for online settings, tasks, activities, assignments, suitable for online learning. We need to change, and this is extremely important, our assessment techniques. We need to rethink our assessment to suit this new medium. And we need to manage how students interact with us on Zoom and how they interact with each other. I'm very happy to see one of our colleagues here was basically saying that even the government sector in Sanawiyya Amma, or I'm not very familiar, I apologize, but in the in the school system, they're using tablets and they are asking the students to submit their research online. Yes, so I mean, it's the tide has come in. Things have changed. Maybe this is one of the silver lining for the the big cloud called the coronavirus, that we're now going to be what's the word, courageous enough to make a move toward technology. We need to deal with the stress of the situation because it was sudden. As I said at the beginning, it's the suddenness of it. We were not prepared. Okay, we need to deal with the stress. We were stressed. The students were stressed, and we need to handle the concern for our the students, because they are concerned. We are concerned about their learning. We are concerned about their well-being, and we need to be able to handle that. In one of my classes, one of my students shared with me the fact that her brother, who is in Dubai, was diagnosed with coronavirus, and she was stressed and she was worried about him. So this is one of the things that we have to deal with. It's not just the teaching. The emotional, mental well-being of our students, extremely important, because if they're not, if we don't try to deal with it, try to empathize, they will not be able to concentrate or learn. The last thing here is student boredom and tune out. And I need to stop and pause for a second here, because this is important. Let's say if you have a class of 15, okay, or 20, maybe 2 or 3 will be the bored ones who tune out, whether we are, and this is important, whether we are in class, face-to-face or online. And this is what happened when we had to shift to this online teaching. It's the same 2 guys who would sit there or not show up or sit with his phone, and I can see him with his phone. So these 2 people, I'm not worried about them. You know, this 20% or 15% or 10%, I'm not gonna worry about. I'm gonna be focusing on the others who care, want to work, want to learn, and I wanna make sure that they don't tune out and they're not bored, okay? So because this is a very fine distinction, it's very important. You cannot expect them all to be 100% paying attention, because there are some students who, like, no matter what you do, you know, whether in class or online, they just don't care, right? All right, so now we want to talk about some action points. What are we going to do? All right. Now we all know what we have to teach, right? We all know our syllabi, our curricula. Many of you are very experienced. Many of you have been doing this for many years. The thing is, we're not sure how to online, all right? And there's a difference, all right? So what I'm trying to say today is I want you to update your classics. What do I mean by your classics? There are we all have our golden pieces of material, our excellent tasks, our bulletproof activities that we've always used. We're not gonna throw those out. We're not gonna reinvent the wheel. We're just gonna adapt them, fine-tune them, tweak them to suit the online teaching medium. We want to also, and this is kind of important, challenge our students. They're not right in front of us, so we're missing a lot of the nuances of their reactions. So we want to make sure we up a little bit the idea of the challenges. A lot of the things that we could do online need to be challenging, competitive, so that the learning is fun, engaging, interesting, interactive. I am not saying fun and games and, balloons and whatnot. I am saying, challenge them. The I+1, if you remember Krashen, interesting, engaging. They want to know more, okay? All right, what else? It is extremely important to think of the strategies. The focus is on your strategies, the learning by doing. And then think of the level or the skill level. What are your strategies? What are your learning outcomes? And every little learning outcome you have needs to be transferred into a learning by doing. All right? Without mentioning names, there are some people who think online teaching is basically recording a lecture, an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours, 2.5 hours, and that's it. And they send it to the students and lo and behold, they have learned. No, that's not online teaching. All right? That's not online teaching. That's not distant teaching. That's basically recording a lecture. And, if you think they're bored, that would be very boring. I cannot sit through an hour and a half of that. So there has to be more than that, the engagement, okay? All right. practical tips and tricks so that the strategies turn into active learning, learning by doing something, instead of telling them how to do something. A simple example, like doing something with the reading, instead of saying, okay, guys, I'll give you 10 minutes, sit and read. No, we can manipulate the reading so that they are actively engaged. And I will tell you how, of course, using certain tech tools. Collaboration, interaction, and if you are one of the people who use Zoom, or if you're one of the people who are going to attend the practical sessions, Zoom and other tools like Blackboard Collaborate allow for interaction. We can put the students in groups so that they can work together as if they were in class. If they collaborate and interact, whether in pairs or in groups, they will retain the information. This will help them, this will help generate their deep thinking, critical thinking. They will remember. They might not remember the reading, but they will remember the experience. The next thing that is extremely important in online teaching or remote teaching is that we forget that there's something that's very valuable in the learning experience, which is office hours. And some people have gone through the whole semester, the past semester, spring 2020, without having any office hours. Now I call them support sessions. So like, let's say twice a week, we have our 4-day week. So twice a week after my class, I say, okay, I'm available for individual support sessions after a class. And we Zoom as we are doing, or we use Google Hangout, which is some of the tools I'm going to share with you later, and basically talk to them about their essay, about their areas of weakness, about the problems they had, answer questions. It's not enough just to see me in, on a Zoom session talking in general or explaining or having them do an activity. Related to this, and in a few minutes, I will start sharing the tools that we're going to use to teach online, the specific tools, comes the idea of boundaries and timeframes. Now, unfortunately, the students, whether adults or younger students, have a problem because to them, life begins, I don't know, 8, 9, 10, midnight, 11 p.m., 12 p.m., 1 a.m., 3, and they start like sending me messages at 3 a.m., asking questions. Or they send a message and they expect an answer like 2 minutes later because they're used to the instant messaging on, on their Facebook or on their WhatsApp. But now that we're teaching online and I have, I don't know, 1 class, 2 classes, 3 classes with 20 students in each class, I cannot, be doing this. So we need to set boundaries, times you're available, just like office hours or when you're available. And the last thing here that needs, not really the last one, but something that's very important, going back to our assessment, and we're going to talk about the assessment, a special day for assessment because assessment is extremely important. We need to authenticate the student's work. How do I know that this piece of writing or this assignment or this project was done by Dina or Mona or Hoda or Muhammad? How do I know that it was not written by her brother or her cousin or her neighbor or her friend? So there has to be ways to do that. And related to this is how we do our assessment. Because if we do our assessment correctly, we are able to authenticate that this is actually the work of Jihan, for example, okay? So we assess, we circle back and we revisit. We assess, we circle back and we revisit in many different ways. And this is one way to authenticate the student's work. Come on, plagiarism and cheating are rife when it comes to online teaching. We cannot stop students from teaching. I mean, let's be honest and realistic, but we can surely make it really hard for them to cheat. I cannot guarantee that my 20 students are not cheat. Maybe there's going to be 1 or 2 who will try to cheat. But my job is to stop them, or to make it really hard, or to figure them out. I mean, I reached a point where, I mean, we're doing reflections or essay writing. And I know this is not his writing, because he's been writing with me since day 1 of the semester. I know this is not his writing. So, you know, I started Googling what he's writing. And lo and behold, all I have to do is take a few lines of the, you know, the essay, and put them in Google, and I get the whole thing. So I started basically, I didn't say anything, just copy pasting the URLs in their essay instead of grading it. They stopped. Halas. You're gonna cheat? Fine. And I'm gonna try to catch you. Fine. We're gonna play it this way? No problem. Halas, yani, what can I do, you know? Okay, moving along. Academic rigor. And I need to be very honest with you guys, and please answer me in the chat if you think this is right or not. There is a misconception out there somewhere that online teaching is not rigorous. And that, for example, this is because sometimes people go and buy their, you know, PhDs or their MAs online, and, you know, nobody accepts them from certain universities, you know, Timbuktu University or whatever. But the truth is, online classes can be as rigorous as face-to-face classes. There are a lot of esteemed universities that give online courses, MBAs. It's so the burden is on us to make sure that we cover our LOs, that we cover our assessment, that we assess in the right way to ensure there is academic rigor. Now, some people are saying here, yes, they agree. Yeah, the idea of academic rigor. So, you know, I'm going to pay a lot of money because for an online course, yes, and it's a very rigorous course, up to standards. We're going to basically ensure that we cover all the learning outcomes in the right way. So just keep in mind, you know, this idea of academic rigor, because it's extremely important. Okay. All right, so I'm going to circle back and I'm going to summarize very quickly. All right, okay. So in the center, we have the technology or the templates, and I'm going to ask you about them in a minute. Get ready for a little quiz again. And first of all, we have to ease in our students into working online. Now, please do not assume, and I found this the hard way, that since our students have a Facebook account and they have a Twitter account and they do Snapchat and Instagram, they are tech savvy and they can use a Google Doc or Google Slides or type from the right side, not the left side, you know, things like that. No, they don't. So don't assume they will know how to use Zoom. All right, so we need to lay the foundation. We need to ease them into how to deal with these systems, whatever system you're using, and then things are going to be fine. They will pick up very fast. They're going to be just fine. In fact, they're fast learners. You just have to be a little patient with them at the beginning, okay? It is very important to keep your workflow. I learned this also the hard way, all right? Routine, and I mean routine in a positive word. That's not a bad word, all right? A system. So they are, what's the word? Programmed, okay? That, for example, Dina does this every day when we see her, every class when you see her, all right? These are the basics that she would do. She will have us do a little quiz, like Rania Jabr at the beginning. She will have us working groups. She will have us read, and then at the end, she will have us play a little game. Whatever, I don't care, as long as you have some kind of a flow, a workflow, a routine, you get them acclimatized to it. The LMS, the Learning Management System, refers to Blackboard, Moodle, or I don't know, Google Classroom, whatever you use. We use Blackboard at AUC in the academic program, and it has to be clear and organized. Because this is your, let's say, your repository where you're going to put the stuff for them to learn. It can't be all over the place. It has to be streamlined. It has to be very organized. It has to be clear. It has to be systematic and has to be updated daily. Then your lessons. Same thing, clear, systematic, organized, and always a plan B in case something goes wrong. Here I am, Miss Technology, and I worked very hard on this, Google form with my students, and it just didn't work on that day. So I had my plan B. For online teaching, I would recommend that you clearly plan your steps, your tasks for the day. If you don't cover them all, it's okay. And the last thing, you need to create a learning community. You and your students are together in a community. It's true, it's a virtual community, it's an online community, but it is a community. We're together in this. They need to feel that we're together in this. I'm here to help you. I'm here to answer your questions. I am here to guide you, but you also need to help me and learn and do your part. So we're in this together. We're collaborating together so that we can cover the course, cover the learning outcomes, and you can benefit as much as possible. All right, quiz time. Are you ready? Yeah, I'm not gonna talk all the time, guys. You need to do something, okay? All right, so I'm gonna show you pictures, and I want you to type in the group chat what you think this icon or picture refers to. To give you a little clue, these are the tools of the trade, as the screen says, all right? Tools of the trade, the tools we're all gonna use to be super duper teachers, English language teachers, okay? In the 21st century. Are you ready? Great, I see a million yes. Okay, all right. So the first one, I will call your name if you tell me what this is. Type. Somebody's typing in Arabic. What? English, please. No, it's not a PowerPoint. No. 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 I'm waiting. No. 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 Okay, just a second, calm down. No. All right, and I thought this was easy, but anyway, all right. If we were in class, we're not in class, I would say, okay, guys, I'll give you a minute to Google it using your phones. But we're not in class and we need to move on. So I'm gonna tell you what this is. This is Google Draw. Google Draw, okay? All right, next. Answers, quickly, quickly. I will say your name if you give me the right answer. Google Drive, Walid. Diana, Google Drive, yes. This is your Google Drive, excellent, thank you. Next, some are really easy, okay? Quickly, quickly, doc, Walid Ali, excellent. That's easy, Word doc. Okay, next one. Next one. Gmail, yes, Rami. Jermeen, yes, Gmail, okay. Let's see if you're ready for the next one. Okay, now this is hard, I'm sorry. I'm a very naughty teacher and I always put one or two really difficult questions. Yes, Hiba, Yusri, Hamad, Jamboard, but it's one word, Jamboard, yes. Jamboard, I'm not gonna tell you what it is right now. Excellent, all right, bravo. Jamboard, Magda Mahallawi. Excellent. Hiba, Jamboard. Wow, we have some super duper teachers here. Now my next question is, do you know how to use Jamboard? You will learn how to use Jamboard, don't worry. Okay, all right, next, quickly. Forms, Google Forms, Dina Lamai. Excellent, Shayma, it's going so fast. Okay, next. Easy, very easy. The next one's really easy. Slides, Diana. Slides, yes, yeah, my favorite, I love Google Slides. Anyway, okay, the next one is hard. No, is it the next one or the one after? 1 second, let me see, can't remember anymore. Yeah, this one. I use this with my students every single day. Hangout, Google Hangout. Bravo, bravo, bravo. Caroline, Waleed. Last one is really hard. Let's see if you can get it. Alas. Okay. And the last one is Bitmoji. Bitmoji, Shayma, Hamdi, everybody clap for Shayma. Bitmojis, virtual classrooms. All right, lovely. I have a fantastic group. All right, if you don't know what these is, don't worry. You will find out soon, okay? Maybe not today in detail, but soon, okay? So these are the family, members of the family of the G Suite. G means Google Suite. For education, the best tool, integrated tool to teach is Google, because it gives you all these little sub-tools that can join together and help you deliver your content, your material. Okay. So, I'll give you a minute to, sorry, I'll give you a minute to take a look at this. I'm not going to say anything. Okay. I'm just recapping. One of the pillars of online teaching is to revisit or recap every few minutes. We call it recircling, recycling, recircling, going back, revisiting. Anything that caught your attention here that I didn't mention before? There's one thing I didn't discuss. Can you type, please, in your chat box, one of these things, one of these components I didn't mention. Personal, yes. Personal. What else did I not mention? Design, yes. Think, design. Remember, please, the most important skill is the visual skill when it comes to online learning. The oral goes back to the background, unfortunately. So we need to maximize the visual. 90% should be visual. That's why I spent time creating these slides for you, because I'm hoping that it will activate your deep thinking and it will stay, you will retain it. Maybe when you go home later, you can start thinking, ah, yeah, I can still see this little, diagram. That's why I showed you the pictures of the icons of the G Suite, I didn't write the names, okay? So think design, okay? Think design, think visual, so that this will enable the students to learn faster and to learn better. Okay, now, we talked about adaptability, adapting our syllabi, adapting our books, adapting our courses. And this adaptability, if I leave you today with only one thing, this would be the thing I would like to leave you with. So the first thing I would like to remind you of is we are not throwing away what you already have. So when I found myself on that Thursday, we were told we're not gonna go back to AUC face-to-face, and they said, we're gonna have spring break, and they gave us a week, and they said, prepare to teach online after a week. I'm sure you all remember what we all had to go through. So I sat there and I was like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? Now for me, I didn't have a lot of problems because I already was teaching paperless. I was just missing the physicality of having the students in front of me in class. So what did I do? This is what I did. How I adapted my face-to-face class to the online course. The first thing I did is I sat calmly after freaking out for an hour or so and made a list of all the tasks, all the approaches that I like, that are successful, and that I use in my physical classroom. Okay, all right. For example, one of the things that I love and I use always with my students is the fishbowl experience, okay? We're not gonna go into that now. We can talk about that later. If you don't know what it is, you can Google it, the fishbowl experience. And I was like, I cannot live without it. They gotta do it, okay? Now I have to transfer this, refer to it, to guide me when I'm planning my online lessons. So we're gonna do it, but we're gonna do it differently. I'm not gonna throw it out. All right, because it's a very valuable task and it helps me with my learning outcomes. And then on the first day, I was very stressed. They were very stressed. I started with small talk. And as I did with you today, I was also a little bit stressed because I didn't know if people will show up or will I be able to deliver something useful or not. So I was thinking about it. I asked you to chat and we chatted on the chat box. So this chat box activity is extremely useful to engage with the students, okay? Now, but please be careful, and this is going to be covered later at another stage when we talk about tips, all right? We want to deactivate, and this is very important, deactivate the ability for the students to chat privately. Now, as you can see here in our chat box, I can chat with you like we did at the beginning of the session, and I can chat with Jihan. Now, this is fine because Jihan and I are adults, right? And we're all in a learning situation here. We're all peers, we're all teachers, but we really do not want the students to chat together in the middle of your class. This is one little tip that you need to know. Deactivate the private chat when you're doing Zoom classes with your students. Norms, expectations for online teaching. Mute. As you notice today, you're muted. And we did that on purpose because there are 190 people, okay, in the room. So if everybody starts speaking, first of all, I don't know, the internet is going to collapse or the noise level or I don't know, whatever, the echo, we can't do that. But in a class, you will have to have a system where you mute them and unmute them, where you allow them to raise hands and put their hands down, where you put them in the waiting room or not. So you need to think of these. This is the idea of adaptability. Just like as if they're in class and Muhammad decides to come late 20 minutes. Are you going to let him in or not? All right, things like that. So these are the first steps of adapting your class. The next thing is collaboration and building relationships, pair work, group work in the breakout rooms, in the meeting rooms, wherever you want to do it. They have to have collaborative activities, relationship building activities. And the beauty of a tool like Zoom or other collaboration tools is that you can put them in breakaway out rooms and you assign them. So I can put Mona and Huda and Ahmed together because I want them together, or I can just divide them randomly if I don't want them together. Or I want to make sure that Rania and Mohga are not together, for example, So this has to be built in your lesson plan. I want to be very honest with you. Teaching online is easy when you are online. It is very hard because it needs a lot of preparation beforehand. So if you want to have a successful experience, you need to think of everything. Preempt, plan ahead to the nitty-gritty. Even if you get a little notepad and you say, okay, I want to do this. If it doesn't work, I'm going to do that. I'm going to put them in pairs. But I want to make sure that Jihan is not with Dina because Dina is friends with the Jihan. You know what I mean? The nitty-gritty needs to be preempted, thought of before starting the session, because things can go wrong very quickly. But if you're well prepared, things are going to be going fine. You will have your plan B and you don't have to worry. You need to think of synchronous and asynchronous teaching. Now, very quickly, the difference between synchronous, now we're doing synchronous. I am teaching or I'm talking and you are taking notes, so we're live. So synchronous is live. Asynchronous is not live. So we need to think of our class. Before class, what do they need to do? During class, what they're going to do, and after class, what they're going to do. This is very important. And for people who work and teach in the School of Continuing Education. I am sure you're all familiar with the idea of the flipped classroom. Flipped classroom galore. They need to do something before coming to class and come to class prepared. They need to do something else in the middle of class, during class, I mean, and later as an extension that has to be a follow-up. The end of the Zoom session is not the end of your class. There has to be an extension. There has to be a follow-up. There has to be something else that they need to do. So think of the Zoom session or the live session, the synchronous session, as the middle part, the body of your lesson, pre and post. Choice, variety versus routine. We need to kind of balance, all right? Giving them choice, giving them variety, plus having a system. They know what to expect. They expect something from me at the beginning. They know I'm going to end with this. They know I'm going to ask them as a follow-up to do that. All right? But within that border of routine, there has to be some choice and variety. And the tools that I'm going to share with you later, at later stages, give you the variety, give you the choice. But I want to tell you something between us as a secret. Don't tell anybody. Secret. We will pretend to give them choice, but we control the choice. Right? So it's not like open season, honey, you want to do your homework, ahlan wa sahlan. You want to do the reflection, also ahlan wa sahlan. No. Choice has to come with certain limitations, which is the choices that we make, what is suitable. For example, something very simple. Like, for example, okay, I want to cover the passive, okay? I want to cover the passive, and I did something in class with them on the Zoom session. So as choice at home, they will have either to watch a video, take a Google form quiz, or create a poster of the rules of the passive after Googling it. But they're still doing the passive, right? Because I want them to learn the passive. And because tomorrow or the next week in class, they're going to have a little quiz on it. But I'm still giving them choice. Now, the good students will say, oh, can I do them all? This is the darling. I'm like, you know, I love you, honey. Bravo. Go ahead, do them all. The others will do one thing. Fine. As long as they do one thing. And the last thing here for adaptability, is keeping the lines of communication open. Communication, 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 and being available to your students. All right, we're almost getting there. And I want to talk about technology, of course, and focus on technology, because this is the crux of the matter. You're all experienced teachers, and no matter what I say, I'm sure you have great ideas, brilliant ideas, and you're going to be just fine. All right? Technology. Technology, when technology was, you know, when there was something called technology, when technology was created, the idea was to enhance our lives and transform our lives. And then suddenly, technology was introduced into the field of education. And teachers were revolting. It's like, are you trying to tell us how to teach? There were huge knockout, drag-out fights between educators in the world and tech makers, you know? And they were like, you're telling us how to teach? What do you know about technology, about education, all right? But the reality is that technology is just a tool to enhance our teaching and transform our teaching. It has to transform our teaching because this is the 21st century. I cannot now hold a book, okay? Hold the book and say, okay, guys, here we are online, read the book. That's not online teaching. I cannot record this session that I did with you now and send it to the student. That's not online teaching, okay? It modifies the teaching material, it teaches us tech skills, and it saves our time and effort. After you are familiar with technology, you choose your own tools, you will have your tools ready, your things ready. You'll have your Google Forms, you'll have your Google Slides, you'll have your Jamboard, you will have your interactive pages. You just send them to the students. Khalas, you created the template. The difficulty is the start, the beginning, to set it up. And then you have it. You recycle it, you modify it, you change it according to the level of your classes, but خلاص, you have your stuff, you're prepared. This is the uphill trip, okay? The battle to prepare your tools. And of course, substitution. Unfortunately, books are dead. Handouts are dead. The age of the book has died. Publishers are hemorrhaging money because nobody is buying books. Everything is online. We pay for these online materials, for these online tools, for these online websites. AUC paid for Zoom, right? Halas, times have changed. And the books, even if you still buy a book, it becomes obsolete, I don't know, 2 months later. There's no point. And publishers have picked up on this idea. So now what they're selling us tools. They're selling us online materials, access to websites. All right, so very quickly, please do not be deceived by the idea of, oh, this is a new tech tool. No, we have to choose, and I'm going to go back now to what Thornbury said at the beginning of my presentation. We will choose our tech tools to meet and match our learning outcomes and our students' need. It's not a fad. It's not because this is new, we'll do it. No, we will use it because it is useful for my students' needs. It will meet my needs. Use them live. There is no point in telling the students, okay, tfaddalo, go, slides, go and look at it. I remember my son, Habibi, one day he came back and he showed me the slides he got from his professor. And it was 2 or 3 slides in a PowerPoint. I do not have the patience to read through 102 slides. No, there's something wrong, 102. No, that's why use them live. When you're using them live, you will realize that they're too long. Avoid fads. Okay, it's fashionable now. If you remember the Prezi, Type yes if you remember the Prezi or know what a Prezi is. My chat, yes, the Prezi. Remember you had to go like this and like this, and I got nausea. I got a headache. Right, yeah, everybody's, where is the Prezi now? Does anybody hear the word Prezi? If you don't know what it is, please Google it afterwards. It's like a PowerPoint, but it flies and it slides and you kind of like, go like this. And it died. It was a fad. Nobody uses Prezis now, okay? It's gone. Yes, nobody uses it. And please remember tasks before apps. So you have to think your task, what you want your students to do, and then you choose the app to match it. So what next? We're almost there. If you hang in there for another 10 minutes, I promise I will be as fast and brief as possible. You've been very patient and wonderful, and I am very, very, very pleased that you're joining me today. Okay, so very quickly, I have a question, and then I'm going to show you what our plans are for the next sessions, okay? So my question is, one change you want to make to your own teaching. Please type it up in the Zoom chat. One change you want to make. What do you want to change? Assessment. Yes, I want to change assessment too. Creative risks. Wow. Assessment. Interactivity. Yes, assessment. Blend activities. Tasks. Time management. Interaction. Assessment. More technology. My God, you've come to the right place for technology, dear. Don't worry. Time management. Okay. Methods, yeah. Tasks. Blended. How about using technology to fix all these? Yes. Okay, great. Okay, wonderful. Okay. So I'm going to share with you now what the School of Continuing Education is suggesting. 30 First of all, I want to say that I am very grateful to the School of Continuing Education for allowing me to be with you today. I think of the School of Continuing Education as my home, and I've been doing workshops with them for many years. Consider them my colleagues, my friends, and I think of myself not just an ELI teacher, but a School of Continuing Education teacher too. They have, I'm going to stop sharing this slide. They have come up with a beautiful idea, which is, I'm going to share with you a new slide here. Yeah, can you all see this? Yes? Can you nod if you can see it? Yes? You can see it? Good. So the School of Continuing Education is planning a series of sessions, like a course, to talk about how to connect technology and the strategies together. And I'm just going to give you highlights of it so that you can know what we're thinking of, you know. Okay, very quickly, we're thinking of 6 things actually, okay? The first thing is, oh, before I start, does anybody know what this is? What's this at the bottom? Can you all see the bottom of the screen where my cursor is? What is this? I made this. Does anybody know what this thing is called at the bottom here? Yes, people are typing word cloud. It's a word cloud, and you can do it using many tech tools like Wordle, for example. Can you read the words on it? Yeah, I created this, okay? And it has many of the tools that I use with my students. But I just want to tell you something, just a little tidbit. This is not just a pretty picture of words. This is one way that I use Wordle or word clouds to teach my students vocabulary, grammar, to brainstorm ideas, and to summarize the reading. Yes, the students do this. And there are many ways to do it. So this is one little tip of an iceberg, of a little tool that can be used to match the skills or the activities that I want, the task, the strategy, which is summarize a passage or find the key words in a passage. Okay, so let's talk about these 6 things. Can you see these 6 icons there? Right, so you're going to be able to do what I'm going to show you now one day, inshallah, soon. All right, the first thing I'm going to talk about is introduction and setting up your class using Zoom, Google Hangout, and HyperDocs. So this is one session. Then we're going to move, and I made them in a certain order, the easy to the more challenging one. Then we're going to move to integration of skills or using multimedia skills. And we're going to learn how to use Google Slides, choice boards, and Bitmojis. Then we're going to talk about interaction, how to interact with our students using technology online. And some of the ideas are Mentimeter, Nearpod, and WordWall. Please note the following. This is extremely important what I'm going to say now. I'm going to pause for a minute. On the web, there are 1,000, 1 million, gazillion tools and websites. And they trick us into thinking that they can cater to our needs. So we have to be very selective. Even something like Mentimeter or Wordle, you go in and they say, we have a huge library, choose from it. And you go in and you find things that are not suitable for your class, not suitable for the level of your students, either too easy, babyish, or too hard, or just not suitable, I'm an English teacher, I'm not a philosophy teacher or political science teacher. And they either say, go pay to get the higher version so you can get more, and I'm not going to pay, or you're stuck with this stuff, right? So what you need to do, and this is what I'm offering here, is to learn how to make your own, how to make this Wordle, how to make the Mentimeter, how to make, remember at the beginning when we played the little game and I asked you the questions? Yeah, that was a word wall game. I created it. So it's very simple to figure it out. And when you figure it out, you can create and adapt your own tools. You're not, you know, bound by what they offer you, which is very little. The free is very little. Okay, moving along. Did we do this one? Yes, we did that. Now we go to, we're almost finished. Student participation, Padlet. And Padlet can be used for videos, audio, many things. Infographics, how to make infographics, Googling. And of course, Taban, this is the first one we saw in the icons, Google Draw. Gamification, so that students are challenged, Kahoot, Bamboozle, and how to create. I'm not talking about using them, I'm talking about how to make your own. And digital choice boards. At the beginning, when I think a lot of you know what Kahoot is, right? At the beginning, when I started using Kahoot, you know, I would, you know, use, you know, Google something in there and I use it, and it would have mistakes. And I was so embarrassed. And the students, because they were upper level, they were like, but this is a mistake. And I'm like, yeah, it's a mistake. So I'm like, why am I doing this? Why not make my own material into a game and put it in Kahoot and make my own game? At least I won't be faced with embarrassment that the students are pointing out spelling mistakes in the test. These are commercially available ones, you know, or more than one right answer, things like that. And the last thing, and the most important thing, and I'm leaving it to last because it will be the sum total of everything and we can use more tools, assessment. How to assess our students using Google Forms, Google Docs, and assessment not just for exams, assessment for learning or assessment as learning. Okay. I'm going to stop now this share, and I'm going to just, I have just a few words to say at the end before we end this wonderful session. I'm really, really very pleased that you were here and that you're with me, and I do hope that you have benefited from this, you know, hour. I don't want to only share tips with you when I see you again. I want to share with you, give you practical, hands-on sessions with show and tell. I will show you step by step how to do something. And then you would, in your groups, breakout rooms, create your own tests, create your own choice boards, create your own Google quiz, your Google test. And I think, you know, the best way is for training, to do it, you know, hands-on, where you apply and produce. The last thing I want to say is that please, some people at the beginning said they're stressed about online teaching or technology, please do not stress, don't worry. I'm gonna say my famous words, it's a piece of cake, but it needs a little bit of training at the beginning. Being here today with me now is the first step. It puts you ahead of the curve. You've already taken the first step. You got this, and I know you can do it. Thank you for completing the first step. It will reinvigorate, reinforce your teaching. And I hope that the students one day will tell you what they told me in my evaluation. They said, we felt as if we were in class, face to face. And I think that was just enough for me to hear that from them, because I was as worried as they were at the beginning. I will leave now the mic to Amira, who needs to ask you a question. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for coming.
Dr. Rania, thank you very much for your efforts and for conducting such wonderful webinar. It was really so interesting and very useful to all of us. Thank you very much. I appreciate, please, everyone write down his or her email address in the chat room to be able to collect all emails and send them the material of the webinar and the recordings. And if you want to ask Dr. Rania about any question, please write down the question in the chat room as well.
I think School of Continuing Education will announce the next sessions and
Yes.
will contact you. Yes, that's why they're taking your emails. And in general, in addition to the announcements, they will email you to inform you.
Yes.
Yes. But next time, I'm going to be doing a lot of work. I'm going to be doing a little talking and you're going to be doing a lot of work. So nice to see so many faces. I miss you guys. Yeah, somebody's asking for an assignment. Are you really serious?
Yes, I was about to have a comment on that.
أنا جاهزة.
Okay, I think we are done with emails. Dr. Rania, thank you very much for your efforts, and thank you very much for everyone to attend, for attending such a webinar. Looking forward to seeing you again, inshallah. Thank you. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.